Now, I ain't no Space Marine player. In fact, I don't think I've ever played Space Marines my entire 40k career. Hang on a sec. Let me just think. Think. No, that's not true. I did buy a tactical squad when I first got into the game when I was like 8 or 9 or something like that. Way back when. But, you know, don't touch them. Don't know, don't touch them, don't interest me. Xenos are the way. But I know from just watching YouTube, reading, you know, community pages, things like that, that Space Marine players have been wanting new barracks for like 10 million years, roughly. Just roughly, I guess. And obviously when the Indominus box set came out, well, I say came out, was previewed rather, it's not out yet. And you got to see those brand spanking tasty looking new bikes, the non-blurry version. I'd like to get a beat on what... I'd love to have that information, you know, just like you had like an entire survey of everyone who plays Space Marines, what they actually think of these new bikes. Because from what I've been hearing and seeing, it's like goes one of two ways. It's like people like cannot like either people love them, you know, big, chunky, reinforced, big bikes, big boys kind of thing, and they love them. And you've got the other side, which are like, their brain can't get past the whole issue with how low these things sit. Like, they can't process it. They can't suspend their disbelief enough just to get past that bit. And it's really, really weird because objectively, right, they look nice. They do look nice. I mean, I will jokingly shit on Space Marines as a joke, but each to their own. I can see why people like them because you've got that whole zeal, super soldier, hero thing going on. That's great. And these bikes, objectively, look nice. But for me, I've got to put myself in the latter camp. It's just, I cannot suspend my disbelief enough to shut the part of my brain up that says, well, that's just going to ground itself in a curve. Well, that's just going to ground itself in a speed bump. Well, that's just going to ground itself off in someone's face. And I can't turn that bit of my brain off. So, you know, it's each, like I say, each to their own. I love the fact they got big chunky wheels on them. That's a good thing at least. But yeah, Indominus box. I mean, we had the Necron Canoptic Reconstructor, Canoptic Recombobulator, big spidery Billy Boy the other day. And, well, it's only fair that Space Marines get something. And to be fair, it's arguably a better preview. I mean, the rule for the Canoptic Reanimator that just says, oh, it reanimates better. Yeah, wow, great, thanks for that. But they've actually shown off the stat line for the Outriders, these new biker units. And the stat line is pretty tasty. It's nice. It's nice. Movement 14, Web Skill plus Skill 3, Strength 4, Toughness 5, Wounds 4, Attacks 2, Leadership 7, 3+ save. So they're pretty sturdy things. And I like the design they've put on the preview as well. I always find it interesting because I've been to one or two of the warmer opening days, and I recommend anybody who's interested and not gone to go. I know this is a little bit of a segue from what we're doing now, but when I saw that design, it reminded me of those open days because when you speak to some of the designers there, they keep like a folio of their designs, that the sort of thought process they use to get to the finished like article of a model. And I just think looking at those things, it's very interesting because you sort of like see a mental journey that people have gone on to get from like just say, right, design me a Space Marine bike, and then you can see the evolution of that design till this final product. And I always thought it was really interesting. I really wish they would have shown something like that off in the preview. I would have thought it would have been a lot more interesting than what we got. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it would have been a lot more interesting, for me at least. But yeah, that's just a little segue when I saw that little sort of design of the bike there, side-on view. Like I say, it looks like a nice bike. It's a nice looking bike, nice and chunky. It looks like something, it looks almost Tron-ish, if that makes, if anyone remembers Tron or have seen the new Tron. That sort of like chunky, like almost flat edges kind of thing is not rounded in slightest. I mean, a part of me was thinking, if you just rounded off some of these edges and remove the wheels and the exhaust, it's a little bit of me thinks it's like, you know, this could almost be something Tau would use. Does that make sense to anybody? No, but that is heresy on for many people. But yeah, I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. But the stat line's nice. I mean, you can't knock a toughness 5 model. I mean, moves 14, so this thing can shift up and down the board. It's very nice. And like the preview says here, White Scars and Ravenwing, you know, they'll be very happy with this. And a lot of people are looking forward to the ATV, the new Space Marine ATV thing that they've got going on. I've got my own little issues with that, but, you know, if they do a preview on that, I'll go more into it. But yeah, the Outrider there, looking very nice. They also did a faction focus, like yesterday they did, obviously, a Necron model preview, and they did the Necron faction focus going, these are the Necrons, they're basically skeletons in space, boo, spooky, you know, they're going to shoot you with lasers and make you dead. Now they've done one Space Marines, you know, very much the same thing, you know, these are the Emperor's best of the best. Well, if you don't count the Primarchs or the Custodian Guard or arguably the Grey Knights, but yeah, they're pretty good. And this is the face of the game. So these are the boys you're going to be looking at most times you see in your news about 40k. These are the guys you're going to be seeing. And it's a good preview. Again, pretty insightful, looking into the mind of a Space Marine player, sort of thing. But yeah, it's nice. It's got a few previews on there of obviously how the new rules will interact with some of the existing models, like Dreadnoughts, Whirlwinds, and that kind of thing. It's got a few stratagems on there for key units, Thunderfire Cannon, Devastators, but it's also got one of the new models from the Indominus box set, the Primaris Lieutenant, because if there's one thing we cannot get enough of, it's lieutenants. God, we love them. We love them, but just more lieutenants all the time. And just showing off his nice, fancy new pistol, the Neo Volkite pistol. Now, when it was described, I've slept since then, so bear with me if I fuck this up, but from what I remember, it was described in the preview, these things are all like microwave guns, like they cook things from a distance, sort of thing. It's like it's an interesting prospect. I mean, would it have a laser coming out at the end of it, or would it just like the air sort of like heat up? You know, like when you're looking at the top of a hot road, you've got a sort of wave of heat going off it. Well, these things just like create a wave of heat, and when it hits the target just like sort of like microwaves itself, just bursts into flames. It's quite a cool looking, or cool prospect really when you think about it. But yeah, Neo Volkite pistol. Ooh, thunder outside. 50-inch range, it's pretty far for a pistol. Pistol 2, so 2 shots with this thing. Strength 5, no AP. No AP. Damage 2, so that's I suppose that's a trade off the AP, isn't it? You got nice damage there. Each unmodified wound roll for 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any other damage. So nice little pistol. You know, I mentioned this in a previous video when me and Jamie and Chris were talking about. We were talking about basically the box set, because obviously the last preview we had from GW was they opened the box set and go, "This is everything you can get in the box set. Give us money." And, you know, if they haven't said the price of that box set yet, but I'm sure a lot of people will be just waiting to just feed their credit card details into their PCs or tablets or phones or whatever just to get hands on that box, limited edition. But I'm looking at these Space Marines, and I know, because I have internet too, because I know social media, that a lot of people think the same thing I do. These new Space Marines don't quite fit the aesthetics of every chapter. You see, this is the problem. I mean, when you have specific chapters and you give them specific aesthetics, just put my teeth back in. When you give them like a specific look or a unique aesthetic about them, it's hard to create a model or a range of models that can fit, that can slot into each and every one, if you get what I mean. Because these guys, these new Primaris in the Indominus box set, they're very Crusade-esque. So if you're Black Templars, great. If you're Dark Angels, great. If you're Ultramarines, obviously Ultramarines like the blank, sort of like the blank canvas sort of thing. Anything can go with Ultramarines. It's like, it's what goes with anything? What's a good analogy? It's like bread. I don't know, but you know what I mean. They kind of go with anything. Blood Angels, not so much. They've got like a not Greco, more like a Roman sort of thing going on. They tend to have like, I always imagine like Blood Angels with sort of like chest plates that have like sculpted abs in them, like that kind of thing, like an old Roman soldier I'd imagine would wear. Salamanders, no, can't see it. They've got the whole dragon lizard scale thing going on. White Scars, no, can't imagine that either. As far as knights goes, they're not. They're more like marauders kind of thing, like Genghis Khan sort of feel. Can't see it for what's the other one now? I could maybe Grey Knights. You could do a bit of a conversion. I know Chris was he'd be a bit upset by the fact that these guys seem to have better knight helmets than his guys currently do. Fair enough. Raven Guard, no, can't see that either. They've got their own stealth, sneaky, stab thing going on. Maybe Imperial Fists, maybe the stoic kind of thing. But you get what I'm going at. I could go off on a tangent trying to think of all the, if someone asked me to reel off every Space Marine like Legion, I could do it. But when I'm obviously on the spot and like the ones that are blue. But yeah, they don't fit the aesthetic of every sort of Legion going. And that's when you make these Legions and give them their own unique feel, you do kind of have to start expanding your range to fit all of them kind of thing, if you get what I mean. You probably don't get what I mean. I'm probably just talking absolute bollocks. But I think a lot of people share that same sort of sentiment. But, what do I know? I'm not a Marine player, so I should basically just shut the fuck up, I guess. But yeah, that's it. It's a nice little pistol. Outriders, they look good. Good stat line, all that jazz. And hopefully we will get more. I want to see more insights into the Necron side of the box, because that's for me where the sweetest plums are. I want to see some of the stat lines of those boys. But yeah, guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm curious to how close this new edition, 9th edition, quote unquote, is away from where we are now. And I'm really curious about how much this box set's going to cost. From what everyone's saying, from the official mouthpieces at GW. Mouthpieces, that sounds a bit mean. From the boys and girls at GW Towers, it's going to be a bargain, apparently, but we'll have to wait and see. And, yeah. Hit all the buttons, do what you gotta do, if you want. Yeah. I'll catch you all next time. See you later.